Hi guys, today we're going to learn about equations that use special segments, and we're going to review this. The methods you have learned from writing equations of the lines are going to be helpful when we apply this to geometric concepts. For example, if we have the coordinates over the vertices of a triangle, you can use these coordinates to find the equation of various lines, such as the lines of the altitudes, medians, or perpendicular bisectors. A little bit of a refresher. So the median is the segment from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. The altitude is the segment from a vertex perpendicular to the line containing the opposite side. The perpendicular bisector is the line that passes through the midpoint of a segment and perpendicular to the segment. Please remember two things. First, to find the midpoint, it's going to be the average of the x coordinates and the average of the y coordinates. Secondly, perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocal. For example, if the slope of a segment is negative 3/4, what we're going to do is going to flip it and change the sign. So the slope of the perpendicular is going to be 4/3. Okay, so let's look at this example. This example tells you that the vertices of the triangle ABC, which is this one, ABC, are this, okay, which you are already have it here. Okay, in this beautiful triangle. So what we need to do is we need to write the equation of the line. Okay, so what are you going to do to find the equation of the line that contains the altitude? Okay, so the first thing that you need to remember is the altitude is the segment from the vertex perpendicular to the line containing the opposite side. Okay, and specifically they'll tell you the altitude of BC. Okay, so you have this BC. So what's going to be the altitude? So it's going to be perpendicular to here. Okay, so it's going to be a perpendicular line that comes here. Okay, so we need to find the slope of BC. Okay, so we know that the slope of the segment BC is going to be equal specifically to 8y8, because that's your y part of the C, y2, minus, and you know that B is going to be 6 minus 6, this one. Okay, then you have 4 minus, okay, minus is going to be plus 6. This is going to be equal to 2/10, that you know that we can simplify this as 1/5. Since we want to find the slope of the perpendicular of the segment BC, what we're going to do is the negative reciprocal. Okay, so the perpendicular to the segment BC, you know that you need to flip it and negative, so this is going to be -5. Okay, so the next part that you need to do is we need to use the point slope, as I was telling you in class last week. Okay, and we need to write the equation using point A and the slope that we have from step 2. Okay, so using A, why I'm using A? Because you know that this line passes through A. Okay, so basically you have your point 0, 12, and your slope for the situation is going to be -5. Therefore, if we do use point slope, you have that it's going to be y minus 12 is equal to -5 times x minus 0. You know that this one, in this case, since we have a 0, it would look much better if we move the 12 to the other side and we multiply this -5 to the x. So you have a situation like that. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, so for example number 2, okay, for the second part of the same example, by the way, what we're going to do here, and this is obviously the altitude. Okay, so let me just write altitude. Okay, so all of this is for the altitude. Now, for the second part of this example, what we're going to do is we're going to find the equation of the line containing the median. Okay, refresher, what is the median? The segment from the vertex to the midpoint. Okay, so this one, in this situation, let's go here. It would be from here, but to specifically the midpoint of BC. Therefore, the first thing that we need to do is going to be find the midpoint between these 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to find the midpoint of the segment BC. Okay, so the midpoint of BC, if you remember, it's going to be x1 plus x2. So you have your 2 points, so it's going to be -6, okay, plus 4 divided by 2, comma, and it's going to be y1 plus y2, which is going to be 6 plus 8 divided by 2. You know that this is going to be equal to -2 divided by 2, which is -1, and 14 divided by 2, which you know that it's 7. And this is going to be your midpoint, okay, the midpoint from the segment BC. Okay, so for step number 2, what are we going to do? We are going to find the slope between the point A, okay, slope, okay, between A and this guy, okay, and I'm going to call it midpoint, okay. So the slope and the midpoint, well, the slope of the A and midpoint is going to be this one, okay, so I'm going to rewrite it here. It's going to be between this one and A, which it was 0, 12, okay. So what are you going to do here? Well, pretty easy. You know that the slope between these 2 points, it's going to be what? It's going to be 12 minus 7 divided by 0 minus 1 plus 1. This is going to be equal to this is 5 divided by 1, which you know that it's 5, okay. So the slope for this situation is going to be 5, okay. Using the point slope, what are we going to do here? Well, using the point slope, you are going to use, I would use this one because it has a 0, so I would have y minus 12 is going to be equal to 5 times x minus 0. As the previous one, since I have a 0, I can make it prettier. So this is going to be equal to y equals 5x plus 12, and that's going to be your equation. Now, you might ask me, oh, can I leave it like this? Technically, yes. But it doesn't look nice because you have the 0. It looks, the 0, it's useless there, okay? So I would leave it like that, okay? For the third part of this example, we want to write the equation of the line containing the perpendicular bisector of AB, okay? So the first thing that you need to do in this situation is you do need to find the slope of the segment AB. As the name tells you, we need to use the points A and B, okay? So what you're going to have is 12 minus 6 divided by 0 plus 6. This is going to be equal to 6 divided by 6, which you know that it's 1, okay? So we have the slope. Now, we need to find the slope, okay, of the segment perpendicular to AB. So what is the slope perpendicular to AB? So if I flip the 1, I keep 1, but if I change its sign, you have -1. So that's the negative reciprocal of 1, okay? Now, if we want to find the midpoint of AB, what are you going to do? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to take your points, add them. So you have 0 plus -6, which is 0 minus 6 divided by 2, comma, 12 plus 6 divided by 2. So when you do this computation, you're going to have that this number is -3,9. Okay, so what are you going to do? Well, pretty neat here. What you have a point. You are going to use that point, -3,9. And you do have a slope. The slope that we're going to use, as the name tells you, since we're looking for the perpendicular bisector, you're going to use that beautiful -1 that we had from step 2. So what are we going to do here? Well, using point slope, you have y minus 9 is equal to -1 times x plus 3. Okay, so I mean, you can leave it like that, right? If you don't worry, but you could leave it like that technically, because they are not telling you to put this one in slope intercept. Okay, so I would either leave it like that, or if you don't like that one, well, distribute the 1, so you have -x minus 3. Pass the 9 to the other side, adding, so you have that this is going to be equal, y equals -x plus 6. Okay, and that's pretty much it. I hope that you find this video helpful. Bye.